Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to OBC Midweek News. It's the usual two here today. It's me, Phil, and Senior Minister here, Martin Travers. How are you, friend?
Yeah, good morning. It's good to be here again, and it's especially good to welcome a friend of ours, Lolly Bell, who people will remember because she's been to the church here before, and people will remember in the community as well that she used to kind of head up a thing called Latch. Well, Latch became part of and merged with the Bromley Homeless Charity, and now together it's called Bromley Homeless Charity, isn't it, Lolly?
It is Bromley Homeless. We are a CIO. And yes, as you say, newly merged.
It's great to see you, Lolly, this morning. Thank you so much for coming to be with us.
Thank you for inviting
Lolly,
me.
before we move into the exciting news that we've got to talk about, can you just explain to us what Latch did and what they still do really with the Bromley homeless?
Absolutely. So Latch was an acronym for Living Amicably Together in Caring Homes. And for 27 years, we've been housing young people into homes of hosts. So these are regular households with spare rooms.
Right.
Because what we absolutely understand is whether these are people transitioning out of college, sixth form, and or just starting work, having finished their education. What really helps them is this family environment, coming home to a household, a sense of belonging, really. So absolutely, we really believe in that model.
And sometimes, or perhaps often, it was a result of family breakdown as well, Lolly?
Very much so. I mean, things are a little bit different today as we're kind of trying to paddle our way through COVID. But prior to the lockdown, I think in terms of Latch, certainly in terms of the hosted model, around 60 to 65% of our inquiries from people aged 18 to 25 were very much stemming from breakdown in relationships, very often and very sadly, where step-parents may be involved. There just isn't that synergy, there's a lot of conflict, and things come to an end, very sad. But, we go into colleges and we talk to young people about what they think they can do, how they can naturally empower themselves to maintain their spot in the home. So, the glue that keeps your spot under that roof, under your household roof.
Yes.
And that is simply sometimes asking them, getting to think, when was the last time you offered to make your folks a cup of tea or coffee?
Yeah,
Have you ever
indeed.
cooked a meal? Never mind the full-blown Sunday lunch, but how about just a bowl of pasta?
Yes.
Yes.
Because tidying your room and getting back on time, not rocking home at 1, 2 a.m. is difficult, is challenging. There's other things you can be doing to balance it out a bit.
And in the 27 years, Lolly, has this situation changed or worsened in terms of the generations of young people we've got? Or is it still kind of stayed the same throughout?
Listen, I think homelessness, where it begins and ends, that has been going on for all time.
Yeah.
Simply put, whether it's dynamics within a family or any household, a shared living space, it is not easy. We're a part of this human race. We can all communicate. We can all we speak essentially in our own countries the same language, but it is fraught with all our own, characteristics, our preferences, our morals, our principles, and we can't help sometimes but brush one another up the wrong way. So I think definitely in Bromley, when the Bromley Churches housing group, it was a discussion group started by a number of churches in the borough. When that started in 89, so we're looking at 30-something years ago, 32 years ago, that was about addressing a problem which was, okay, it wasn't rough sleeping on the streets, but it was fraught households who perhaps were on the brink of, young people being forced out of their homes. So it is a concern, I'm sure, that's been visible in our community for all time.
So after a long process, Lolly, earlier this year, end of last year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Latch and the Bromley Homeless charity merged to become Bromley Homeless, and for you to be working together and a stronger voice as a result of it. But it covers a wide range, it seems to me. It covers the range from sofa surfers to people sleeping on the streets, rough sleepers. Is Bromley Homeless concerned for that wide range?
Absolutely. We look at homelessness, we look at where it starts and where it ends. And sometimes I think that the hosted model is at the start of a homeless situation.
Yes.
Where people are sofa surfing until they have no sofa options left to turn to, which is when they will tumble onto the streets. I've also thought of the hosted model as the other end of the shelter, where we can provide them with the first move on stage out of the shelter. So, yes, we are concerned with everything, but most important, I think we can't stress enough the importance of recognizing that you are at risk of homelessness and getting to a place in time with great courage to share that problem with us, hopefully, so that we can give the advice, support, guidance that would help.
That's brilliant, Lolly. So you are going to be coming to OBC regularly. You met with Martin. You met with Martin and Pam a couple of weeks ago, and I'm really pleased to know that this church is going to be here to help and house the support that you're about to offer. What is it that's going to be happening here at OBC, and when is it going to happen?
Well, I'm thrilled that it is going to be happening because we almost got started the week of the lockdown.
Yes, I
around
remember.
March 20th last year.
Yeah.
And it just picked us to the post. But the idea, without a doubt, is to address what we see as a distance problem for people in Orpington. Even though you and I, we can jump in our cars and be in Bromley within 7 to 10 minutes. Anyone can jump on a bus and it may be 8 to 10 stops max. But we recognise that for some people it's extremely difficult to come out of a comfort zone. We hear from street homeless people who regularly say, no, I couldn't get to you. Where was I going to leave my trolley? Everything would have been stolen. Right. And or I didn't have an Oyster card. I'm not going to we actually speak with the bus operators and say, if someone were to tell you that they're homeless but they're trying to get to Bromley Homeless in central Bromley, would you just let them hop on? And yeah, some bus drivers will say, yeah, of course, no problem. But that's not a widely known thing. No. So there are barriers to accessing the service, even before you get to the service door and, you know, encounter all the fear and anxiety of telling your story. So that's what we really wanted to address. That's what the outreach is all about, coming and meeting people literally where they are in their lives.
Yeah.
When we do this, it's going to be every Friday, which sounds and feels ambitious, but it's absolutely the right thing to do. We want to set a tone. We want to be here on a regular basis consistently to receive people and see how we can help them. So yes, it is brilliant that we're able to come to Orpington Baptist Church. There's such a warm and welcoming space there. When we met with you, Martin, and Pam a little while ago, you know, Kim, who leads our advice service, Kim was bowled over by that beautiful foyer. Yeah, the fact that it is a big space, but it's not like a shell. It is very homey. You've got incredibly good insulation there. We know that we'll be running teas and coffees. We will have volunteers on hand to just chat with people so they're not sat there in stony silence. The idea is that once they step through your doors, they feel welcomed, they feel understood, and they feel that we can work together going forward.
So people, so on a Friday, 9:30 till 3:30. From this Friday, Orpington Baptist Church is going to be open for people in housing crisis in one way or another. Now, one way or another might mean that the person coming in is has had to sleep rough for a night or more. Or it could be somebody that's being threatened with eviction, Lolly, or it could be a younger person who's been told by his parents, you get out. It could be a wide range, couldn't it, of people? Since kind of knowing you, Lolly, and knowing the work of Bromley Homeless, my eyes have been opened much more to the breadth of the problem that we're talking about. It's not just the rough sleeper. It's a wide range of people.
It is indeed. We looked at our stats very recently for the two services that we're running. Between Kim's advice service, which traditionally was the gateway to the shelter, the Bromley Homeless Shelter, and my service, we'd received in the past 18 months, so that is from January 2020 to the end of June this year, over 750 inquiries, unique inquiries. So that is the breadth of, I think it's the tip of the iceberg in the borough. Of course, we do have other people on the borders of the borough, so coming in from Greenwich, Bexley, and Croydon, and Lewisham. But without a doubt, I think the whole point of not waiting until winter to explore this relationship and the space at OBC, what it offers in terms of drawing people out with their problems and challenges, housing and homelessness. Without a doubt, we'd like to gauge the size of the challenges that are being faced out there, particularly in view of what we've all been through in the past year. We have no doubt that there are people who are silently just treading that circle, trying to get through it. But we would urge everyone and anyone, please bring your woes and worries that are related to housing and homelessness, do bring them to us, and we'll absolutely see what we can do. You're right, whether it's someone who's sofa surfing, doesn't have to be young.
No, sure.
My oldest sofa surfer currently is 62 years old.
Right,
and has
wow.
been sofa surfing for probably, he says about 6-7 years, but I think it's more like 10, 11 years, actually.
Wow, right.
He didn't recognize a bit where he was staying with his sister very safely, and no conflict, all very good. He didn't recognize that those 4 years were actually also sofa surfing, technically. Didn't have a home to call his own or a space to call his own. Right through to the rough sleepers. Now, I think we have to make clear that sadly we do not have our own emergency response to rough sleeping. We do not have our own emergency accommodation. We still routinely rely on the local authorities to pick up and respond, but we do advocate for everybody that we can so that they get the best service and the best response they deserve.
Brilliant.
Yes, it is a real spectrum.
And I've heard you and others from the charity speaking about, I think you've used the phrase, a tsunami of homelessness, and we're on the edge of it, coming out of lockdown as a society. And why do you say that, Lolly? What does it mean?
It is in anticipation of a higher number of people who, let's look back to before lockdown, before the pandemic. We have various circumstances that are forcing people out of their homes. They are very wide and varied. We're talking about, abuse in the home, whether it's domestic, financial, emotional, mental, all sorts of abuses. We have people who are in desperate times, who are turning to substance misuse. As I said, young families, people who just aren't able to make ends meet. We all know why that's happening. But essentially, I think that when we refer to the tsunami, now that we're trying to come out of lockdown, and now that the eviction ban that was twice put in place since lockdown last year has lifted now, that eviction ban, there are people now, literally, who have been lulled into this sense of, okay, we hit a pause button during the lockdown from March last year. Most housing associations, landlords, all knew that they could not pursue the end game in any eviction notice. So all of that was put on pause. But now that it's lifted, obviously, they are picking up again, and at great speed, because we're already seeing a higher number of people approaching us, single or with kids in tow, who are in this eviction process. I think for anyone who lost their job last year, and I'm mindful to mention that many of the people who've approached our service in the past year would or could be considered your regular worker, 9-to-5 worker, got a mortgage or paying the rent, got family, got responsibilities to undertake, but that now, out of furlough, no longer working, they're at the end of their tether.
Yeah.
And the challenge those people face is that in normal times, when they really are managing to absolutely live independently and responsibly as individuals in the community, they just haven't had the opportunity, the need to get the information on simple entitlements. What are your rights when you're in this position? Who can you turn to? I had one gentleman who said to me, Citizens Advice Bureau, what is that? He was 50 something and he'd worked all his life. So when you're in that very, very good position, you're not looking for this, for those signposts here and there to help with this and that. So that is something that I feel we're seeing a lot of people faced with now, is not knowing where to turn to for help, not knowing what their entitlement is.
With many people, Lolly, there's a need and a desire to want to help, and I know with people that are sleeping rough, the need's fairly obvious, and people are able to practically help them with whether that's food, drink, or sometimes in cases we've known of, giving them a sleep pod and putting them in contact with you to get them rehoused, working with Angela. But what in this instance can be done? I mean, we've got this outreach centre happening here. What more can people do? What's your advice to people? Because I know there are people really wanting to try and not just pray into this, but to practically help and support you guys in what you do and the people that are really at risk and vulnerable.
Yeah. I think if people don't know where to go for help, that's on us. And we are now ready and able to reach out to the wider community to say, we are here to help, and we look forward to seeing you. People will come, they may take their time, not everyone's ready to enter that conversation about, this is my position in life and it's pretty dire and I need help. That's not an easy place to be. That in itself makes them actually quite vulnerable. But if you know someone, if you're watching, if you're listening, if you know someone who's in a homeless situation, if it's someone you see sleeping rough on the streets, think about what you can do. Now, I would like to urge everyone, take care. Imagine you are that homeless person on the street. Imagine you have potentially 50, 100 people approaching you every day saying, did you know you need to get yourself to the homeless outreach going on Fridays at OBC. Would that not drive you mad? So I would really, and you know, that's why it's important. If you're prepared to do this and engage with that person, do it sensitively.
Yes.
Always be mindful to ask them first.
It's a
Do
really,
you need help? Do you want help?
really good point. And Lolly, we would welcome, wouldn't we, volunteer kind of welcomers in our welcome area here. People, particularly from our churches that we know, but others who've got a heart for this. We want there to be people available before they come in for an advice appointment, which is in another room. They're going to be in our welcome area, and we want people to feel really, really welcome here and at ease and comfortable. So we do need people to help us staff this in terms of people to make a cup of tea for somebody that's been really struggling. That would be really appreciated.
Volunteers are the backbone of everything that we do. Most charities will be able to say the same thing, without a doubt. So the ability to welcome someone on a cold, wet day, or if they're coming in from a heat wave, as we've had in the last couple of weeks, is essential. The ability to provide that very calming, warm, friendly welcome, not over the top, because we have to align ourselves with where they are in their lives, but something that will help to settle them, to make them feel welcome. Absolutely. There will be waiting times, particularly if we expect, as we do, people just to drop in initially. On the little flyer there, we give our contact details so that hopefully we can schedule something in for a Friday. But of course, anyone is welcome to lead someone else, guide them into your OBC, Auckland Baptist Church space there, and or call to book appointment ahead. Say, for instance, if a rough sleeper doesn't have a phone, if they've seen the flyer and they've saved it down to their phone, that would be perfect. They'd have the number then, and or the email to contact us with. And let's get a time, an opportunity to talk booked in. But yes, we do need volunteers.
Yes. And can I mention a final thing really from me? I wanted to mention the fact that this is a service that's open to all. It's not dependent on your religion or your faith or your sexuality or anything. It's open to all. We welcome all that are in housing crisis for this advice centre. But Bromley Homeless and Latch had a Christian foundation, didn't it, Lolly? It was the churches that came together to form this. I know that you and others involved in this charity are committed Christians. And I know you were telling us that you've been watching our services, which is great as well. So it's okay for us to feel that we're doing this in the name of God's love.
100%. However, I'm also mindful to point out that we can't, in this day and age, we do not exclude anyone. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
This is a service that anybody can walk into. Absolutely anybody. We always remind our volunteers that whatever work they think it is they're doing, whatever gifts and talents they bring to the service, and our staff as well, that most importantly, we focus and center our energies on the person themselves and what they're going through. The rest is all around us. It all falls into place. We wouldn't be coming to Orpington Baptist Church if it was not known as a welcoming space. And that it really is. I mean, when you walk in, the colours just are so uplifting of the design, the stained glass window design. It is the space, the shape of the space, the fact that we have very, very discreet, smaller spaces tucked away for more private conversations. The fact that we have that hatch there for tea and coffee and maybe some cakes and sandwiches. Plenty of room for us to be distanced, for us to feel safe. And as you say, whoever you are, whatever your walk of life, come, you'll be warmly welcomed.
Amen.
Lolly, thank
That's
you so
amazing.
much.
Thank you, Lolly.
It's really good to have you with us, and look forward to seeing you on Friday. But we kind of feel your passion always, Lolly, and we share it too. So thank you so much, and we pray God's blessing on this
you
new
do, always,
initiative.
Thank you, Martin, and thank you, Phil, for this opportunity to promote our homeless outreach on Fridays at OBC. Really looking forward to meeting some of the community in the coming weeks, months, and hopefully it goes on for years. Thank you
amen.
again.
Thank you.
God bless you, Lolly.
Thank you. God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow. It's such a privilege to be able to offer this space to help others, Martin.
I think so, Phil, and I think it's it's in partnership with people that got expertise in this area. Sometimes you kind of struggle to know what to do yourself, but I think one of the good things is that we can work in partnership with people like Lolly and Bromley Homeless who know who to phone, who know where to go.
They are the experts. We and you can see the information on your screen now, guys. Can I just suggest if you're watching this and you feel that you may know of someone, then maybe just take a photo from your phone now of this screen so that you've got the details to pass on to someone so that they can just drop in and they know where it is. Because this will stay on our channels of YouTube and Facebook, sure, but you may just need it walking down the high street one day, or you may know of someone one day, and it would be great to know that through your love and kindness, someone's been able to get connected with the experts to really help them in this time of need. And it's so sad to think that as we come out of what's been a pandemic like we'll hopefully never ever see again, that there's going to be this wave of poverty striking us, and that's just a real thing to pray into and to practically help in ways that Lolly and co are. But great to be able to support them.
Absolutely. Yep. And lots of other things going on as well, Phil, in the life of the church and in our outreach and in our pastoral care.
Indeed.
In our worship. Fantastic baptismal service
I loved
last
it.
Sunday.
It was just so good. Abby and Rachel, you were true witnesses to the Lord, and your testimonies have, I honestly feel, really inspired others. And I can see this wave coming now of people giving their lives to Jesus as well, and that's something to be so excited for. So yeah, well done to you both. I know you were both mega nervous leading up to giving your testimony, but you both did so well, and it was just a great service. I mean, I think it was a combination of things, Martin, but baptisms are always uplifting, but having more people in the church again and being able to sing, it combined to be just such a beautiful service. So yes, we can't wait for more of those.
Absolutely. And some friends came forward for prayer. I think 4 people came forward. We prayed with at the edge of the baptistry, which was lovely. Yeah. And then next Sunday, and remember, you don't have to book, and that you can come back and sing, which is fantastic. This next Sunday we start a new series called Mixed Emotions, going through some of our favorite psalms. And seeing how we can bring all our emotions to the Lord, and joining in worship. We've got a dedication as well.
2 people.
2 little girls. Yes.
That's so exciting.
That's exciting. So you see what we do, as it were. Yeah. For children, though we don't baptize children within the Baptist Church, we have a dedication service.
Dedication for children and a believer's baptism for adults.
Which is very special.
Older people, yeah. And then 2 weeks after that, 2 people being brought into membership.
Yes.
2 weeks after that, another dedication, my daughter this time around.
Yes.
You've got a week off in between, different people preaching in between. 5 Sundays in August, and they're already looking really busy, which is exciting, and that's a good thing. Don't get us wrong, we love being busy, but we do also think about people that are in need at the moment. There's been so much hurt, isn't there, and anguish in the last week or so, Martin, my heart's really been going out to various families who've lost loved ones and people that are ill in hospital. There is this time of joy that's happening at the church, but we are still so pastorally concerned and thoughtful of our dear friends that are struggling.
As you know, Phil, just yesterday, it seemed as if there was one kind of really critical need after another being shared with you and me, and we were seeking to respond appropriately. And you know, that's what we're here for. We're here for individual people. We love to see the whole crowd, as it were, worshipping, but we're here for individuals at the end of the day, because God loves you individually.
And God knows you better than anyone else. We'd love to get to know you as well. And we're aware that there's some people coming into the church for the first time, and some people that have been watching our services for the last year or so, thinking, shall I go? Shall I? I'm not sure if I'm going to know anyone. Well, this is how it starts, guys. Come along.
Yes.
Introduce yourself to someone. We're a very welcoming church. We're a very friendly church. Come as you are. There's no airs and graces here. Me and Martin don't take ourselves too seriously. We do take we take Jesus very seriously, but the two of us are here to enjoy ourselves whilst we talk to you about God's love for one another, and we'd love to just share that with you always. So may you know God's peace this week, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Bless you.